Many times life may seem a little bit flat or a little mundane, or like you're just kind of going through the motions and you're just taking life as it is, versus feeling like you're a conscious creator of your life. You might be feeling like you're a victim of your life versus being a conscious co-creator of your life experiences. If so, stay tuned for the rest of this episode. Mosaic Souls. Hey Mosaic Souls, this is Rachael Alexander, artist and Mosaic Soul mentor, aka spiritual teacher with flair. And today I wanted to talk about how to follow and cultivate your intuition. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is, what is your intuition? And I like to think of your intuition as a direct knowing, having direct access to higher knowledge of knowing which way, which direction you want to go in life, having a direct knowing of life events before they happen. It manifests in many different ways, but it's simply just an inner knowing, having that direct link to that inner knowing of life, of your direction in life, of what moves to take, of certain events in your life and other things like that. So it's a connection. I really think of your intuition as the language of your soul, right? So that's what intuition is. And if you're feeling like your life is a little bit flat, or like you are just kind of going with the motions of life and you're in autopilot mode and you don't feel like you're actually creating your life, you just feel like life is happening to you versus you're tapping into life, I wanted to talk about this because your intuition is really what gives life juice, It's really what makes life juicy. It's what makes you feel alive. It's what makes you come alive. And if you're not tapped into your intuition, your life can really feel like it's off track, or you just feel unhappy, just in general dissatisfied with your life. And intuition is so important because having that connection to your soul, having that higher guidance, is what makes life a lot easier and a lot more fun. And as you know, I always say, you are divine. You are a soul having a human experience, right? And so when you don't have that connection to your soul, having that inner guidance, having that inner knowing from your soul, life can feel just plain boring. It could feel, lackluster. It can feel difficult. It can feel very challenging. It can feel just like you're just out of whack, that you're out of alignment. So how do you cultivate your intuition? How do you follow your intuition? And then how do you cultivate your intuition, right? So following your intuition really just kind of comes from cultivating certain practices around what I like to call getting still. A lot of intuitive hits and inner knowings comes from a level of being still. And I could just tell you my story. I've been intuitive my entire life. And ever since I was a little girl, playing in the dirt, playing in the mud, I always had a very deep connection with nature and a deep connection with God, as I knew it back then because I was raised as a Christian. But I always had this kind of inner conversation going on, and I would always be self-reflecting and always journaling. Like, I was reading our journals the other day, and I was like reading all these different insights and things that I got even as a little girl. Like, I was a very deep child. And so one of the ways that you can cultivate your intuition is creating time for self-reflection, right? So creating time to get to know yourself and taking time to be still, taking time to go out in nature. And even if you're not a super nature person, just going outside for like 5 minutes and being in silence will help you to cultivate more trust in that silence and be able, for your intuition, that inner voice, it can come in many different ways. Your intuition can speak to you through many different signs and symbols, and through your different clairs, your clairaudience, your clairvoyance, clairsentience, where you're feeling, there's a whole bunch of other different clairs where you're tasting and touching. It can come to you in various different ways in which you're experiencing it with your physical human apparatus, right? Or it could come to you in the form of seeing animals, certain animals. Like, I've had a lot of that happen with me over the last 5 years, or I'll see certain animals and they represent certain symbols, or, certain things in nature, or certain music you'll hear, and you know what I mean? Like, your spirit guides, right? And for me, I don't really differentiate between my spirit guides and my soul. To me, it's all the same thing because we're all one. Is constantly talking to you. So your soul, your spirit guides, your spirit fam, divine team, whatever you call it, that piece of you is always communicating with you. And so in order to cultivate your intuition, you have to cultivate a practice in getting still enough so that you can hear it. So think of your intuition as kind of like a radio frequency always going. Your intuition is always there, but you're just not dialed into it. So in order to dial into the radio station of your intuition, you have to create practices, and a lot of it has to do with like quieting the monkey mind, and that's why I talk about self-reflection, so that you can tap into that inner knowing and that inner voice that's within you, The second way that you can cultivate your intuition is, like I said, it's a part of self-reflection. It could be journaling, and really just kind of getting to know your inner world, right? So what's going on in your mind, and also what's going on in your emotions, right? Because your emotions are there as a guidance system. Your emotions are telling you, can help you navigate where you are. There's a few different things that your emotions can indicate to you. The first one is that it can indicate to you where your belief systems lie, so what your perceptions are about life and the meanings that you're giving life events and situations. And then the second way, it can indicate certain directions and preferences, right? Like what you prefer to be experiencing. So it's a really good thing to tap into your emotional body, to tap into your emotions, because we live in a vibrational universe. Having that connection to your emotions is so key, because your emotions are vibrations. Everything that you see, we are vibrational beings. We're vibrations first, physical second. We might seem like we're all concrete and physical and hard rock, but everything, like watch a quantum physicist, video on YouTube or something, you'll find that we are all energy, right? So having connection to your emotional body and your emotions is really key in helping you to navigate your, cultivate your intuition and navigate the intuitive landscape that you have access to at any point in time. And so those are really the two main ways that I would suggest you to cultivate your intuition. I'm going to tap in here quickly and just see if my spirit fam has anything else to share. So another thing that my spirit fam is guiding me to share with you is that not to be so hard on yourself. A lot of times when we're trying to cultivate and activate and follow our intuition, we have a tendency to try to beat up on ourselves and be judging and self-deprecating, where we're judging ourselves and criticizing ourselves because we didn't get it right. Remember, there's no such thing as right and wrong, and I'll link a video up above that where I talk about self-criticism and self-consciousness. But understand that to cultivate your intuition is to learn to love yourself. So love your journey, love your human experience, bring in more love into your life, and embracing your unique individual human expression. We are all unique. We all have our own idiosyncrasies. We all have our own little ways of doing things on the planet. And when you start to embrace all of your, like for me, let me just give you an example. I embrace that I'm a huge loner. I love being alone, and I love nature. I also love really great conversations. I love deep conversations. Now, as a little girl, when I was growing up, I felt really bad about that because I was like, well, why am I so antisocial? What's wrong with me? Why can't I have a lot of friends? Granted, I wasn't like alone all the time. I had friends, but like I didn't embrace these different aspects of me. And so when you learn to embrace all of who you are and how you incarnated to be, you can actually shape your character in the way that you want it to be, but don't try to change yourself out of not loving yourself, you know what I mean? So that's a whole nother topic. But bring in more love into this process. And when you do, you'll find that you'll begin to tap into that radio frequency of your intuition a lot more. You'll be able to tap into and activate and cultivate your intuition a lot more. So there you have it, some ways that you can activate and cultivate your intuition and follow your intuition more in your life. And I'll just kind of recap. So you want to create time for stillness, you want to create time for self-reflection, and you want to create time for going inside and getting to know your inner world, right? So that's a part of that self-reflection piece, but really getting to know your emotional body and what your emotions are indicating to you. Are they indicating your current belief system, or is it indicating a personal preference? And the reason why this is super important is when an emotion indicates a certain belief system, you can notice right away, especially if it's an emotion that you would not prefer to be feeling, you can notice the beliefs that are attached to that emotion, and you can alter your beliefs in an instant, right? Whereas the difference between that is when your emotions are indicating a preference, you can follow that preference as it goes. Like if you prefer to go left versus right, you can follow that intuitive nudge, that emotional nudge to go left, right? So that's why it's important to cultivate access to your emotions as well. So I hope that this video has been helpful, and if it has, definitely give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and share it with a friend. And remember to always flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, because you are a divine soul having a human experience, and your soul knows exactly what you came here to experience on the planet. And always remember, you are divine, and vibrate higher. Peace, love, and light. Take care.